大家好, welcome to another Zen Live. You can hear me, please type in the back so you can. 大家好, welcome to another Zen Live. Developer and lead developer.
Hi, 大家好.
This is Young Bo. Along with the technology.
Yeah.
And they're here to tell us. If you click on yourself and then click on the, it'll bring up the information about you. Fluent, and you can also put in a little box about yourself so you can describe a little. So we're still having some sound problems. Can someone else comment on how the sound? Anyone? Okay. Alright, so I'll start over with the profile stuff. Inside the profile, if you click on your own avatar and then click on profile, it'll bring up information about yourself. And here you can edit information about where you're from, your Chinese language proficiency, if you're beginner, intermediate, or fluent. And you can also put in a little blurb about yourself in the little About Me section. And you can also have the option of hiding that information. So you'll notice if you scroll over another avatar, it'll come up with a little box by their name or by their avatar, and you can see that information. But if you click on them and then their profile, you can see everything that they have not hidden that's available to be seen. So, Ken, can you tell us why we want this functionality in Zen?
Well, as you guys know, as you're walking through Zon, it's very hard to figure out anything about anybody else. One of the problems with Zon is that if you want to find out more about Young Bo, for instance, you have to find Young Bo, and then you have to talk to him. That's the only way to actually figure out anything about him. So what we decided to do was create more of a kind of buddy system, and this is the first step in that, which would involve, for instance, me just mousing over Young Bo and finding out information about him. I'd find out that he's Chinese, that he speaks fluent Chinese, and he might be somebody I want to talk to get a tutorial or ask questions to. And so this is kind of that first phase of that and why we need to do it.
Okay, so is this functionality related to other potential applications?
Well, like I was mentioning, since it's the first step of the buddy system, we want to make sure that we flesh that out even more. And so I can find out more information about Young Bo, I can chat with him, but if I left, later I want to come back and talk to Young Bo, I might want to be able to contact him more indirectly, say through like email, like we're very used to doing. And so after friending Young Bo in the new system, which we're working towards, this isn't built yet, this is the first step, I would be able to add Young Bo as a friend. And so the profile is that front door to figuring out if you want to engage in a conversation with somebody, if somebody has information that you may be interested in talking with them about. Maybe they're an expert in holidays because they attended all the Zon holiday events, and they could list that in there about me, and then that way we could go and figure out who's an expert and go talk to them.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and the user, you can just see other users if they are in some kind of club. If not, you can invite the user to your club and or join others club.
Yeah.
Through
So it's not like other social networking sites like Facebook, something like that?
Oh, very much so. I mean, we are a bit ripping off the way Facebook works, but it's definitely going to build the community, make it stronger. People will be able to find each other much better and make friendships and make connections.
I think it'll be great for language learning too, because you can click through and see the levels of your friends in Zen. So if someone's intermediate or fluent and you need help, they'd be a perfect person to ask. Whereas if someone's a beginner, you can say, hey, do you want to come do this quest or task with me? And so you can make friends. Another thing that we have is Zen Times. So would someone like to give us a brief introduction of Zen Times?
Suppose I will. Since I'm the technology director, I get to actually know the overview of all the stuff that we're doing, and then Youngbo gets to program it. So while we're talking, if you guys have any questions about stuff that we're talking about, or Zon in general, now's your time if it's a technical question. And you can also ask Kate questions as well, because she knows more Chinese than I do, and Youngbo as well. So
Chinese.
yeah, because he speaks Chinese really well, of course. One of the things that we wanted to do was we took an idea of the Zon Times, which we had previously. Everybody has the Zon Times in their inventory when they register for the game. And so what we wanted to do was take that, which was kind of like a stale newspaper, and turn it into something that we could update every week and give you more information about what's happening in the world of Zon, as well as things that you can do throughout Zon, new features, new functions. There's also a language lesson every week, and there's a culture lesson every week, as well as your very own Z-Live host Kate's column, which is she'll be talking about different things that are going on Zon, community-related things, and Zon Live events, and whatever else she feels like talking about because it's her column. And so we basically revamped the Zon Times. It has these 4 columns in it right now. If you go to your inventory, it'll show up as it is right now with the new content. Kate's first Welcome to Zon column, a language and a culture lesson about the new year and some other information, and then a kind of a Welcome to Zon roadmap of things that you can do in the news section. So it's a new feature and function, but at the same time, it's using an old thing that's already there that everybody already has. So, Youngbo, do you have anything to say about Zon Times? Youngbo and his group, there was a group of developers that we named the Yunnan 8 because they're from Yunnan University, software developers, and they came over and did an internship in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And they built the core of Zon, basically. Everything that you do is directly reflected by the work that they did. Youngbo was the best, and he was involved in everything that was happening. He actually wrote the original Zon Times with a couple other guys in 2008, early 2008, like January. And so he's probably very happy that there's a resurgence in the Zon Times, and it's something that's very valuable.
Yeah. No, Zon is a great game. I work so hard because I really love this game.
He does.
Yeah.
This man works really hard. That's what I'll say. Anyways.
About Zen Times, how can the players use Zen Times for themselves?
Well, it's a great, like I was saying, it has a great language and culture lesson, which is good for just self-study. If you want to learn a couple words about one of the latest events or some sort of timely thing. For instance, the Chinese New Year is coming up in February, so we'll make sure that we post a lot of language and culture lessons surrounding that every week. If you're interested in what's going on in the community, for instance, what the next online event is about, or one new feature that we implemented, like the profile. Kate might mention it in her column, so she's always keeping you kind of up to date with what's going on that way. And then in the news section is functionalities that we added, like a tutorial on how to edit your profile, a new mini game that may have been deployed that you can go play, a language game or something that's been revamped, or a new feature or function. So that's one of the great things about the Zon Times now. And we're going to expand it. This is kind of the first step, once again. We love to take first steps. And so we're working our way towards creating a much more holistic paper in that it would be like a paper you get on your doorstep every day, or go to the newspaper stand and buy, and we could have classified. So say Kate is looking for somebody who can teach her about certain types of Chinese vocabulary. She can put an ad in, and somebody can answer the ad, or reverse. If somebody wants to be a tutor, if Young Bo wants to be a tutor in Zon, he'll be able to put an ad in. So that's what we're working towards, and hopefully soon we'll be able to expand the paper to be more than just the 4 columns at the moment.
From last week, the Zon time will change a little. When you open the Zon time, there will be a list, and then you can choose the one Zon times on some day, and then read that Zon times.
Yeah, so everybody gets a welcome Zon times. It's the
Yeah.
first thing, one of the things that ends up in your inventory when you register for the game. But the nice part is that every week you can go to the newspaper stand and pick up a new Zon times. And then as we work our way through creating more of this Zon times infrastructure, Kate will be able to receive it in her email, right, if you subscribe to it. Or you'll be able to go and for $1 Zon a week, get it mailed to you in the game instead of having to actually go to the newspaper stand. And it'll become more and more valuable as time goes along. So just like the game is. And just to satisfy some of the questions is there's actually a weather thing up in the top corner of the Zon Times in the inventory if you go to it, and that is the weather in Beijing. Now you'll notice most of the time it's got a moon because it's night when we're doing stuff in the day here in China. It's exactly a 12-hour difference between China and the U.S. Or is it 13 hours right now?
Now it's 13 hours.
13 hours right now. So it's literally the opposite of where we are, plus an hour or whatever. So it's easier in the summer when it's a 12-hour difference. And so you'll see that there's a moon, but it has the weather, which is in Celsius, I think, right? So
yeah.
So for all of you in the U.S., you can do some scientific equation to figure out what the Fahrenheit temperature is.
Oh, nice.
That's why, yeah. Do you want to talk about doing more apprenticeship stuff in there, or I can talk about it. Sorry, I'm stealing all Kate's thunder. She was gone for the holiday tree event, and then we get her back, and I'm doing all the talking, which is horrible. So one of the things that with the businesses is we would do more of these things like in the airport where you can actually apprentice and do work as the baggage handler or whatever, working at the newspaper stand so that you can buy stuff from the newspaper and actually take on the job of selling things to people. So, for instance, anything's tradable in Zon. So if you actually do collect all the Zon Times every week from the newspaper stand, you could easily go out and sell people back issues of the Zon Times. And as the Zon Times gets more information added to it, we'll put clues into scavenger hunts and special rewards and stuff into them as well. And so an old Zon Times might be valuable to somebody because they can get them a special piece of clothing or unlock a lesson or something in Zon. So they can actually have value, and you can collect them. And you can start your own grassroots business that way.
Someone was asking, do you pay for Zon Times if you go to the newspaper?
Right now you don't, but you will as the time goes on.
Actually, at first you will get one Zon times, but if you delete it and you go to the newspaper lens, you need to buy one.
Yeah. So you get a Zon Times for free. Everybody gets one right away. But to get the next issues, it's going to cost you, I don't know, it's like $1 Zon a Zon Times. So not expensive in Zon money, but it still costs you. And they might get more value as time goes along. Excuse me.
So is there any questions?
Does everybody understand the profile thing? I'm going to start mousing over everybody here and seeing who's got a profile. Nobody seems to have a profile yet.
Actually.
See, Young Bo is the person who always tells me when to refresh.
Looks like most people
Oh, there
already
you
got
go.
through. Oh, someone did.
Yeah.
No way.
So if you just move your mouse over
Dancer.
people, you can see their butt.
And then once you mouse over them, if you want to see their full profile, including a enlarged view of their avatar, you just click on them and then click Profile, and that'll bring up a little box that shows what the person's wearing, their hairstyle, stuff like that, and their About Me section. Sometimes the About Me gets truncated in the little pop-up box, so the profile makes a bigger box. For instance, I'm on Dawei here, and he says, I'm glad to help you on Chinese learning. So there you go. There's a good example of a way to use the About Me resource in which Dawei is now offering up his services to anybody who wants to talk to him. And I happen to know Dawei, and I know that he's a native Chinese speaker. So he's the type of person that somebody who's learning Chinese would be very lucky to be able to speak to. And the type of resource that's not often available to people learning Chinese, both in schools and by themselves. It says, can we get links to the botanical gardens and more? It's funny you should say that. We're actually trying to expand Zan. So as you know, we created Nanhu Park. Nanhu Park, right?
Yeah, Nanhu Park.
Sorry, like I said, I don't know. They speak Chinese. Nanhu Park, and we're actually going to create more maps, including some new maps in a new city. We're actually going to start working on maps in Shanghai, which will be very exciting. And so we'll be able to include some of the Shanghai features that we've included in Beijing, like Ping An Avenue and the Beijing airport. We'll probably work on something like the Shanghai railroad station.
Train station and the builders.
The river.
River, yeah.
Yeah, Youngbo is really eager to create a virtual river ride.
Ooh.
So you would take a boat down the, what is the river called?
Just the cruise. You can just, the river?
Yeah.
It's Huangpu River.
Huangpu River?
Yeah.
Learn more Chinese here.
Yeah.
We're lacking in the Chinese and cultural bit of this live event.
Yeah, would all that be built in Zan then?
Yeah.
How would you get there?
You can actually we either take a train or take a plane to the.
You'll be taking a train, high-speed train.
Maybe people could keep a lookout for a coupon in Zan Times for discounts and stuff like that.
Definitely. Is the train cheaper? Yes, the train will be cheaper. It's a high-speed train. They built a special high-speed train between Beijing and Shanghai, right? So it's like a 4-hour train ride.
It's much cheaper than take a taxi.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to take a taxi. I don't think anybody has enough Zan dollars for that. Shanghai and Beijing are approximately, how far apart are they?
How far you mean?
In distance. Taxing them. How about a plane? How far is it?
Oh, just 2 hours.
2 hours in plane?
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours.
It's probably like 600 miles.
Yeah. So the train in China is different.
I'm building a high-speed train in Zan, so they better catch up.
Sure.
Choo-choo.
Google it.
It's 2.5 hours flying, looks like, from Shanghai. So it's a little...
Thanks, Dancer.
Thank you, Dancer. Anyone have any questions?
2 or 3 hours.
Not going to have a lot of opportunities like this to talk to these guys, so if you have a question...
We're very camera shy.
Yeah, as you can see only half of their faces in the screen.
That's because we don't want to crowd Kate. How do you call it in Chinese? What is the Chinese for Zan Times? It doesn't know. Is there a Chinese translation? Zan doesn't really have a Chinese translation.
Like, what do you call it in Chinese?
Yeah, there you go. What is newspaper?
Isn't it
It's Baozhi.
So you had it right.
Yeah, you're right. Baozhi.
So it'd be Zan de Baozhi.
No, we don't. We don't write it weekly, right?
Obviously, we haven't written the about piece for the Zan Times.
What else
Wang
do we have
Bao.
here?
Baoji, yeah.
Yeah, Baozhi. Wang Bao.
So the As for the profile, is there anything anybody sees in the profile that they'd be interested in adding? We added location, your language level, and an About Me section. But we could always add more. For instance, we're going to add a feature that allows users to turn off the mouse over on other people. So, for instance, if you don't want to see information about everybody when you mouse over them, you can turn that off in your profile. Is there anything else that anybody would be interested in? I mean, here's a chance in which the guy who actually types on the keyboard to make Zon work, and is here. So don't hold back.
I know all the
kind of here. He's halfway off.
I know all
it's kind of crowded in here. We need a wider angle camera or a bigger studio.
Someone asked, sorry, if Zon Times was weekly, and yeah, that will be weekly. I'm not really sure when will it be released every week. Or
Starting now.
Yeah.
You get the first issue in your inventory now, and then next week, starting probably, let's say Monday. See, this is how quick it is. We haven't actually put a release day, but Monday would be a good day. Every Monday you'll get a new Zon Times if you go to the newspaper stand.
And how great would this be? I'm going to be a Chinese teacher, so I'm just thinking, oh, Monday, here's a language lesson and a culture lesson. I don't have to go do research myself. I can just look at Zon Times and have my students look at it. So if you're a teacher, I think that'd be great to just check in. $1 Zon dollar? That's perfect.
Yeah, one Zon dollar. They're actually, the language and culture lessons are written by people who are very trained in teaching Chinese culture and language. And so they're great resources. I mean, they basically are college level language lessons, but they're written, of course, for everybody to learn because we don't want to exclude anyone, beginners. And then Kate's column is a good look at what's in Zon and what you can do with other people in Zon. So I keep forcing constrictions. I told her it was her column; she could do anything she wanted, write about anything. So I'm going to stop talking about what Kate's column should be. So.
What are some of the other questions?
Career or profession or vocation? It tells a lot about somebody. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we're thinking, with people making clubs and groups, you could put in what club you belong to in the About Me. One of the things we wanted to do with the profile, which I think is very important, is that we didn't restrict what you could put in About Me. So About Me could be anything. It could be your website address. It could be information about what you do for a living. It can be, that Kate's your best friend, that you're part of the Kate fan club, that you want to start a club that basically worships Kate, or anything you want. No, I'm just kidding. Or Young Bo. I mean, the man's worth worshiping. He is a great programmer. And so that's one of the things that you can do with the About Me. There is no restriction on it. And we want people to encourage people to use that in a way which suits what they want out of Zon. Creating an About Me. For instance, my About Me would be, please tell me what you want from Zon. I am all ears. And Young Bo may be different, Kate may be different. So keep that in mind when you're creating your profile. Ads on Zon Times. Not yet. But the ads like I was talking about.
You have a job, you want to sell something in the game, you can just put ads on Zon Times.
And the idea that you could even just advertise that you want to be a tutor, or you want to be a tour guide. Like you want to show people around Zon because you know everything about it, which I know some of you do. And so that's one of the things that would be great to do.
It's just about we used to get from some events. Who want to buy it from me and
like the Zon shirt.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that. See, we haven't been giving away the Zon shirts in a while, so we'll do that next event. We'll make sure that we give away some Zon shirts again. So, does anybody else have anything else they'd be interested in? Now that I've done all the talking, I told them that I shouldn't be on tonight because I talk too much. They did not
And
listen
we
to
told
me.
him he'd be fine, and he did great.
They did not listen to me. My own team.
But keep the lookout for these new things coming up in Zen, because I'm really excited about it. I think you can use it for a lot of different things, and the more people we get involved in it, the more of a resource it'll be for everyone.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do is the more people can connect to each other using Zon, the more you'll be able to learn from Zon. The idea is that we can create a lot of content and we can put a lot of interesting stuff into Zon, but it gets even more interesting when you have more people studying about it, talking about different things, and having a good time playing Zon. And so in the future is very bright for Zon and where we're going, and these are just 2 initial steps towards that. I know a lot of you have been using Zon for a while, and you're very familiar with how it's developed even in the last 3 or 4 months. And so I'm really hoping that you guys can continue to be part of Zon and get your friends involved in Zon.
Tell your friends. If you have a good time on here, tell your friends. Let them know. Looks like Dodia needs a tutor, so Dancer.
Dawei, I just saw that Dawei was saying, oh, Dancer says she wants to be a tutor in Zon.
Yeah, Dancer.
Dawei says he's willing to. So there you go. So do you have 2 options standing right behind you on the screen to talk to. Let's see, what else are we in? And then our next Zon Live event will also be in 2 weeks, of course. And that's one of the things I want to add. I'm going to put that, since you guys are our devout Zon Times attendees, is Tuesday night at 8 o'clock a good time? I'm going to pose this question on the website. So on enterzon.com, there will be a poll in probably a day or 2, which you can go to, and I'll send out an email. And people get to vote on the time that they want to do a Zon Live event. So that's one of the things that you should look out for, because I know that Tuesday at 8 o'clock may not be the best time for everyone. It's worked pretty well for us, but we're open to what other people want to do. We're also going to start doing events that are not live, but are still Zon events in which we do scavenger hunts and stuff, which would be great. Down the road.
I think that would be helpful.
But 2 weeks from today, we'll be doing a special event, and it'll be focusing on the upcoming New Year's.
Yes.
Chinese New Year's, that is.
Yes, Chinese Spring Festival.
Chinese Spring Festival.
Yeah.
Also Valentine's Day, which is a Western holiday, but adopted in China. Very popular in China now too, right?
Actually, that day is Chinese New Year.
That day is Chinese New Year's. Is it always Chinese New Year?
No, just for this year.
Just this year. So Valentine's Day probably gets overshadowed quite a bit by Chinese New Year and Spring Festival. So,
yeah.
Which is probably the biggest holiday in China, right? And so it's going to be a long month of Zon events coming up, starting in mid-January, working its way through the Chinese New Year and Spring Festival.
There's a lot to cover with that, so.
Yeah, just talk again over Kate.
No, just look forward to coming to those, because Spring Festival is one of my favorite Chinese holidays. There's so much culture and so much exciting stuff about it. So, yeah. Well, if there's no more questions, I guess, do you guys have anything else to say, or anyone have anything they'd like to raise?
Anyone?
Thank you. You're welcome.
I don't get to be on video much.
So
No Chinese for me, unfortunately. I know only a little Chinese. Wo shi know me.
You're a farmer.
I'm just a farmer.
All right.
Well, it was wonderful that you guys came out. We all hope to see you soon. Thank you, Kate.
No, thank you guys. Thank you to Young Bo and Ken for joining us tonight. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks, and also out in Zen.
Out in Zen. We're always walking around. 谢谢。
不用谢。
Yeah, 再见。
再见。